Well, thank you very much, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I also have Amber Lowry with me, who is our head of all youth services and programs for the library system. So I want to start with our vision, which Patrick just said. Our big picture is to engage, educate, and empower by working with our community. So today I'm going to talk about a couple things. So just to give you a big picture idea of what to expect. First, I'm going to talk about the library and our facilities, services, and resources. And then I'm going to talk about a specific initiative that we are very engaged with, and that is Star City Reads. So I want to start with the library. Just again, big picture. We were founded in 1921. We are the library system for the city of Roanoke. Our closest branch to Carilion is our main library, which is in Elmwood Park. That's where I am right now. We have 6 branches, including a law library, and 2 e-branches, one at Valley View Mall and one in the Garden City Rec Center. We're also right now, today even, installing a new e-branch in the Crystal Spring area over in South Roanoke in the village area. And I'll talk about that a little later as well. But the key thing I want everybody to remember today about our services is we are located in the neighborhoods of Roanoke, and we are adjacent to many schools, specifically PH in our Raleigh Court branch. Williamson Road is right in front of Breckenridge Middle School, and our Belmont branch is adjacent to Fishwick Middle School. So we work with families all the time, and we're very community oriented, and we love being in the neighborhoods. I'm going to talk about our past renovations as well. Our use of programs, our use in our programs has challenged our facilities. Before I was the director, I became director in 2004. I was in charge of the master plan study for libraries, and that included 8 community meetings over 18 months. And we listened to the community. And since then, for the last 12 years, we've been refurbishing and expanding our locations over the past, like I said, 12 years. We have, most of our branches were built in the 1960s. So some of the features that we've had there in this is our community rooms we've added community rooms, we've doubled the size of our spaces. We have teen centers that we've added, family and kid-themed areas, quiet reading rooms, opening day collections. What I mean by that, we go in and we've actually replaced 60% of the book collection with new books and updated books. New technology, outdoor spaces, which I'll talk about in a little bit too. And we've designed all of our new locations to have areas for the community to have accessible to the public, community rooms and tutoring rooms after hours. I want to use a couple examples of the spaces we've created in our updated areas, in our updated libraries, specifically active play. And if you can see Amber, she's actually in front of the slide right now as we speak. So active play areas, links and play areas outside really link to our work with the community. And you'll see even more with Star City Reads, so important. So the slide is an example at Maine that you can see in the upper picture. Children come and they are active with their families, and they come down the slide till they're worn out. Then we see them reading in the corner, which is exactly what we want. We have an entranceway there you'll see that's very engaging. We don't have a picture of this, but there's a dog house that they can enter through into the children's area. We have dedicated preschool areas, family safe restrooms, and teen centers that we've actually engaged teens and designed with them as we've done our work on each of these renovations. Reading nooks, and the last picture here at the bottom, that's actually at our newest library that we opened last year. It's a magnetic glass wall within a nook, and it has coloring sheets embedded. We also have added music labs at 2 of our locations, Raleigh Court and Melrose, at the request of the teens, and those are very fun. We also have something we call a STEAM lab at the Melrose Library, which is a science-oriented learning space, and that's also been going really well, and that's at the Melrose Library. We talk about outside areas. We built a reading porch on the back of Main and all this, but in specifically playgrounds, we're trying to link to the outside, to the community. And the first one that we worked on was actually the Carilion Clinic Children's and Hospital Playground, which the city calls Peter Pan Park. And I have to do a shout out. Amber helped design this. It's really a cool space. One of the climbing areas is a pirate ship, and there's an alligator they can climb on. This is a really wonderful space that's adjacent to the main library in Elmwood Park. Again, that active play, that engagement of families. Also, right beside it is the new Roanoke Kiwanis Club playground. They gifted a $400,000 playground just in September to the city of Roanoke. Is adjacent to our newest branch, the Melrose Branch. We worked with them for 2 years on that. We're very excited that we're starting a program there where community businesses and partners within that community are actually adopting the playground every month. We have February, and we'll be doing curbside pans out of books and working with the kids on different projects, music, engaging with the schools and the children in that area and that outdoor space. So these are just two really good examples of what I'm talking about. Upcoming projects, I mentioned Crystal Spring, that's on the left. If you go down into the village now, it's right across from the village green and within, right across from the post office and some of the restaurants down in the South Roanoke area. That's basically a book kiosk that will be opening very soon, within the next month. We just loaded the books into it. It holds about 700 books. So you can go there and you can you can go there and pick up a hold, or you can go there and choose a book and check it out. Up in the upper corner is our Gainsborough branch. We're currently under construction there. We renovated that in both these two branches, Gainsborough and Belmont. We renovated in 2009. We currently have funding from the city of Roanoke's capital plan to refresh them. It's important we keep things up to date. Gainsborough, we're currently doing that with new furniture, new carpet, newly designed teen areas, and that's going to be opening probably in January or February. And below it, Belmont, that's our next project. We currently are working on an RFP for that for design work. That building was built in 64 and renovated in 2009. Again, we're going to go in there and we're going to refresh it. One of the things that's coming out in the project design so far, though, is our goal is to work on finding funding for a 5,000 square foot addition onto this particular branch. It's in a neighborhood of very high need, and it's across from the middle school. So we feel like designing a flexible 5,000 square foot addition would really give us a lot of impact for working with community partners in the Southeast neighborhood. And we were very excited. We were approached by Library Journal about our Melrose Library. Every year they pick about 5 to 6 libraries in the country to highlight for best practice. And they actually chose our Melrose Branch. And I'll give just a quick overview of some of the stuff that is unique about that location. It's a new branch. We moved from a 5,000 square foot branch into a 15,000 square foot kind of warehouse that was on the end, and we were able to totally design it from the ground up, which we found really exciting after doing all the other renovations of existing buildings. It's in the Goodwill campus, so it's a 100,000 square foot building. We're in the end of it as the library, and we were recognized in the November Library Journal for the work we did there on that space. It features a small business center that we're working with the community on. Again, I mentioned the STEAM lab, and we really connect directly through, like physically, to the Goodwill Job Force Center. So a lot of citizens come there to talk about and find out information about jobs and resume writing. I want to also talk about some other resources in the library, moving kind of away from the facility side to resources. In the Virginia room, I just want to kind of highlight this briefly. The Virginia room is located in the main library, again on Jefferson Street in Elmwood Park. And we have it's a phenomenal collection of local history. in genealogy and research. We have, as an example, that picture up in the far left-hand corner. That is actually the 1921 summer reading program at the library. It's pretty funny. I mean, they're sitting on top of the bookshelves and stuff, but we have over 20,000 photos of early Roanoke that we are currently digitizing so that we can have access to them for the public. We also have, of course, the genealogy research census, city directories. We have all the way back to the 1880s when Roanoke began, and yearbooks. And so, again, this is a very rich resource that I just want to let you all know about. We have a lot of people that come and use that collection or call us. Also, just internet resources. We have been physically closed since March, but we've been reaching out by doing more internet resources and also virtual stuff, which I'll also talk about in a little bit. But we've been doing curbside services to the community. And one thing that we've noticed has gone up even more is some of these, and I just want to highlight two or three. And so Tumble Books is an online interactive children and teens book database that has vocabulary and games tied to it. And the schools use this, but parents could easily use this to make sure their children are understanding what they're reading, and it's by age. RB Digital is a platform for e-magazines. We have over 100 magazines that you can download to your devices. Libby is an online ebook, and to give you an example, our ebook just in the city of Roanoke since March has been 160,000 checkouts and about 25,000 book checkouts since June. So we can see a shift with that. That's how people are accessing also some of our. We also have e-audio you can listen to in your car. Newsbank is a database, and then last but not least, I want to just point out the Find It Virginia, because it's a really good source if you're working with families. It links to reputable resources. It's by age, and basically it's a one-stop place for reputable resources and online databases that you should take a look at. All these are located on our webpage. Also want to point out that you're part of, when you have a library card from the library, whether it's the city library, you have access to all libraries with one library card in the Valley: Roanoke County, Roanoke City, Botetourt, and Salem. That's been in place since 1988. I was actually very involved with that. They hired me to convert the card catalog to computer code, and that's the basis of our system. It's a really deep resource for everyone because we share a database. You can return and check out books from any location, and we do all the work for you on that, so you have access to all these resources. Also want to just talk about example of some community programs and upcoming programs. And as we all know, this is a very challenging time, but we continue to be flexible. And in this particular case, on October 10th, we had our annual Melrose Fall Festival, and we had partners in the city schools and the health department. And it was a very successful day that we did curbside and, as you can see, distanced. And it was an example of that. To be flexible, though, I'm going to show you some examples of some planned upcoming programs, and that is some of our fall and winter programs. The Santa bags, we will do curbside, where we'll give out a book and a craft and have a connection and have Santa virtually for children. Harry Potter is a community thing that we're going to do next weekend with the Grandin Theater. We're working with them on that. And then Holiday Cafe nights in the Children's Theater, the Virginia Children's Theater. Right now, those are planned to be done outside. However, again, we plan to just be flexible, and regardless, we plan to move ahead with the programs. We'll just take it virtual and then distribute. So for one of them, it says hot chocolate. We'll distribute hot chocolate packets through our curbside to families. That's how we do it, because we feel like it's important for people to have access to stuff now. It's very hard for families, as we all know, and people are happy to come to our services and our programs. Also just want to say, this is just normal stuff, but we reach out to the community in many different formats so that we reach as many people as possible. So we put out a newsletter called The Spot, both virtually and printed. We have Facebook and Instagram because we know different demographics use that. And since March, we actually launched a YouTube channel, and we're running, we have put content onto that and do story times off of there. And we have and team programs, we have a fairly large following on YouTube. And that's been something new that we've added since March. And I'm going to shift gears right now and talk about Star City Reads. So to give a perspective of what this is, it ties with that vision statement that I talked about at the beginning. But to give a big picture again, it was started there was something called the Campaign for Grade Level Reading that was started in 2011 by the National Civic League and the Ann E. Casey Foundation. So we've had some really cool interactions with them because they do Sesame Street Workshop. But they started this campaign. And so in 2011, the city manager called me and he asked if I would head up an application for an All-America City Award. And the theme was, with the National Civic League and the Ann E. Casey, the question of the day was, what is your plan for having children in your community reading on grade level by third grade, which is a very pivotal moment in so they read, they learn to read till third grade, and then after third grade, they read to learn. And so children that aren't reading by third grade could fall behind very quickly. And so they were looking at the science of it. So I pulled together a team of about 5 of us, including Drs. Craig and Sharon Ramey from what was then called the Carilion Research Institute. And we worked for about 9 months on this application. First thing we did was benchmark our data, like, what's the scores now? And we wrote an application, a plan. And then we actually won an All-America City for our plan. Once we came back from Denver, we realized we had to implement our plan, and that's what we've been doing. And we have grown our partners. So every community in the campaign has a lead. And right now it's grown to 400 communities in the country working in the campaign for grade level reading. And our local campaign is Star City Reads. And the library is the lead in Roanoke, focused on Roanoke City. Since then, we've grown our partners in Star City Reads from that original 5 that wrote that application to 34 community partners focused on children and reading in the city of Roanoke. In 2017, they asked another question, like, how have you been doing with your plan? So we did the data, we sent it in, and Roanoke actually won for our results in 2017. I just give you this picture because, again, it's our work. In 2019, we won the first Hall of Fame award for Star City Reads. The All-America Cities awards have been given out forever. That was for their 100th anniversary from the National Civic League. We won for Feed and Read, which I'll talk about in a moment. So I ensure that every child in the city of Roanoke is reading at or above grade level by third grade. The thing that I would want you to notice on this, I've talked about, we're working together as a community. A lot of us care about this, but the 4 areas we're working on are, is a child ready for school? Like, how are they doing as a preschooler? What are we doing with that? As a community, what are they in school? What's causing them not to be in school? Is it asthma? Could it be dental issues? Is it something else that we don't know about that we need to look at? And also, how are they doing in the summer? And now I would say the campaign's work. We're actually just run a webinar last Friday weekend that the campaign's asking us, what are we going to do about COVID slide, or what are we going to do? And we're having a discussion, so it's best practice. And then the most important one, how are we engaging parents? How are we working with parents? So those are the 4 areas of work for our campaign and also overall. I'll talk about Feed and Read. I want to give a couple examples of initiatives within that group of work that we're doing. The first thing that I would say is part of our plan is a hungry child cannot learn and cannot thrive. And in doing our statistics, we were immediately knew that this was an area of high need. And something that actually personally I would say surprised me, the number of the need, because, and I think that that's an important point for all of us to understand, is this is important. and that maybe by looking deeply into our own community, we saw the need even greater. So we started a program we called Feed and Read with several of our partners. And what we do is we work with Feeding America, Southwest Virginia, and we feed meals at the library every day. We were doing it 6 days a week. It grew to 6 days a week. And we give out literacy books or do programs. So since we started this program in 2014, we have served over 110,000 meals to children in Roanoke. Since the pandemic started in March, we've fed about 20,000 meals curbside. And we have noticed that our average feeding right now is about 2,000 meals a week. We've also reached out to the city schools because they're feeding children, and we're actually coordinating with them. They feed lunch. We're feeding later in the afternoon. And again, this is a community effort, and a child, again, cannot learn or thrive if they're hungry. We're very passionate about this. We also have, and part of our campaign is to put books into the hands of children to help with their vocabulary growth. And we have Turn a Page, which is one of our partners. They're an amazing group, came to us and said, we'd like to focus on birth to 2. And we're like, this is amazing. We have a donor that's going to fund a Roanoke baby book that we actually wrote with an illustrator about children. And then just this year, we had a donor work with us because we wanted to make it bilingual. So we have a Spanish, English, and this is given out to every child born at Carilion. And to date, since we started this in 2014, we've given out about 25,000 books to families, as well as other places when we do programs. We did an expansion with Dr. Harsha Bhaktani, an amazing group with Pediatrics. We're so excited about, and we plan to continue this when we're able to reopen or to work out a way we can do it virtually. But we decided to expand something to Feed, Read, and Grow. That's focusing on 2 or 3 things, focusing on the family interaction. And a couple things that I would just highlight here is you can see the partners. These are just a few of our Star City Reads partners that worked with us on this project. And what we did was we brought in DSS to work with, to sign people up with benefits. We were concerned about that lack of insurance or lack of support that they might have. And so DSS actually, within just a couple months, had served almost 250 families in the library. We tied that to Feed and Read, and we would have families come in, and then they could talk to a social worker while the children were participating. Also, we focused with Blue Ridge Literacy. You see that up there. They're housed in the main library, and they are an adult literacy program. 80% of the participants in this Feed, Read, and Grow spoke English as their second language. I'm actually on their board. There's a high need for that too, as Roanoke's a resettlement center. And so that was a focus as well. Also, the other thing I would say about all of this is we created programs, and this is what you're seeing some pictures of, which we will continue later, where the community came together in these programs to learn about a topic, to cook together, to play games together, and it really was very successful. So we plan to continue this and also folks from different walks of life teaching these classes. And again, from Carilion, it's a wonderful program. And then we created a parent corner with the help of pediatricians to help parents. And so our parent corner is something that we're extremely happy about as well. You can see some of the books there. I wanted to put in a plug for another thing that we're just starting up, and that is an app that you can put onto your phone called Room. And we're working with the Campaign for Grade Level Reading on this, and it's a really cool tool for parents. So basically, you can enter in your child's age or multiple children in your family, and it will send you tips and support for things that you can do to interact with your child to help build their vocabulary or help with their development for that age. And it's just a very practical thing, and it's a very easy thing that you could push out to parents and we can give them free access to this through our work with the Campaign for Grade Level Reading. I also want to talk just about some of the support we have, just a couple other things before I end here. One is that we have a foundation. The Roanoke Public Library Foundation was started in 1952 when they built the main library that we're currently in, and its existence is to support the library, the Roanoke Public Library, specifically in programs and initiatives. And so I just make folks aware of that. An example of a program we did back in March was a book that was published by the Rhino Public Library Foundation with a local author, Nelson Harris. It's a Roanoke Valley in the 1940s. They used our resources, and it's an amazing book. And he's actually given the copyright, as well as the copyright for the baby book, is to the Roanoke Public Library Foundation. We did you'll see pictures here. This is a huge event that we had the most fun with. It was at the Taubman, and we gave out Star City Reads books that were published in the 1940s, like Make Way for Ducklings and some of the classics. We had swing dancers and classes. We did a scavenger hunt. And we had 40s music, and basically used it as an opportunity to work with the Taubman to teach children about Roanoke history, but also to launch the book. And so that was a really wonderful day. Again, that's through some of the resources in the Virginia room. Right, the next one, Amber. So these are just examples of some stuff, our Feed and Read, and we also do farmers markets this summer. You can see the distancing there. We had over 100 families take part in that this summer per event, and we did several events where we worked with LEAP and with Feeding Southwest Virginia to do a farmers market with children that was distanced and curbside. And also, just kind of to end on a note here, this is really the passion that we have for the work we're doing. These are examples. So we gave out quarantine journals in our, we also have a series of little free libraries that we maintain all through the city. And that was a popular program to talk about like wellness and being aware of how it's affecting you emotionally and mentally, and self-care. We also, the little kid with the octopus, his mother posted that on our Facebook page. That was a curbside kit. This summer we gave out 8,000 literacy kits to children. Each kit had different reading levels, included a book, a craft, an activity, and a toy. We also did Find a Bear. You can see we put bears in the windows, and children went around finding them and then read bear books. And then the one down in the far corner, that's one of my favorites. Basically, that's our children's preschool librarian reading on our YouTube channel. And basically a parent reached out to us and showed us her little 3-year-old son is like a groupie of the children's librarian. He's just totally involved in that book. And that's exactly what keeps us working and being engaged with the community is seeing that kind of reaction from our families. So thank you for allowing me to talk to you today. And we would always love to talk with you and work with you any way we can, because like I said, we are in the neighborhoods and we are a community-centered library.